Hi, my name is Miriam Beatrice Wanjiru. I work with Paradigm Initiative as the Programs Officer for East Africa. Paradigm Initiative is an organization that really champions digital rights and digital inclusion. And so just reading this recent report by Blog Association of Kenya as someone who's really, really passionate about the state of digital rights and digital inclusion and just basically the internet, it was quite intriguing, but then also eye-opening. There are a couple of things that stood out for me. Aside from the gains, I mean, just reading back to see that it's just only a few years back that we gave ourselves the Data Protection Commission through the Data Protection Act. That was quite a win, and it's important that we stop and take stock of these gains that we take for granted. But of importance, and I think what I'm taking away and what I hope to work on, both at the organization I work for and also as an advocate of digital rights, is just the emerging threats to the digital ecosystem that the report has brilliantly put together. Key among them is issues around privacy, especially around data protection and surveillance. We tend to take for granted the extent to which surveillance has crippled our democracy, and reading through the report, I really just made mental notes that we really need to engage ISPs, internet service providers, as much as possible, because they've been mentioned a couple of times, and more often than not, especially as civil society organizations, these are entities or these are stakeholders that we don't engage as much. So the report explicitly mentions a few, particularly in the country, that either have been party to promoting surveillance or violation of data protection. And I think we need to have more people in the room, particularly from the private sector, internet service providers, to ensure that we are on the same page, instead of our civil society organizations constantly complaining that they are complicit in violating some of these rights. I think something that is also not mentioned a lot in the sector that I have seen in the report is the tricky balance when it comes to issues around gender and the internet. So the report has mentioned a few numbers. Particularly, I remember reading about 90% of young women in Nairobi have gone through some form of technology-facilitated gender-based violence. That is wild, and it is wild because, number one, our laws do not acknowledge technology-facilitated gender-based violence as a crime, and of course we need to start there. But then also we are not having these conversations enough. Do they have avenues or channels for redress? So I think this is a report that allows us to start having those candid and very, very urgent conversations. Of course, there are other emerging issues like internet shutdowns, of course, during the time when the report was put together, because the report looks at the state of the internet from 2020 to the present times that we are in currently. We've had internet shutdowns, which was unheard of in previous years, 5 years, 10 years back. That was unheard of, and so it's quite concerning. And I think all of us should be worried, especially as we near the electioneering period, and also the tendencies to either suspend or block sites such as Telegram for one reason or the other. I think these are things that need to be looked into in court and outside of court. So this is a call as someone from civil society, as an advocate, as a champion for digital rights, just ensuring and calling on to people from academia, from private sector, to just look at the recommendations and actually work on them. I keep saying it's very, very important to document, because you cannot influence policy without data. And so what BEC has done is give us evidence and give us data, which is super timely and super relevant. So congratulations to you guys.